So on the drive home from the Chainsaw Man movie, I just went and saw the Chainsaw Man movie. That movie was a beautiful, beautiful experience. It really, really was. And it really got me thinking about hopping back on here and just talking to you guys about my headspace on the current world, not only just within pop culture, movies, film, video game communities that I really care about, but also just sort of the general vibe of everything around us right now. We see Ninja Gaiden 4 is fantastic. The movies that are coming out have been great. Sort of just taking different things in and injecting my own opinion, and that's what I'm just coming on here today, is just to talk about the things I have opinions on. So let's get straight to it. Number one, that Chainsaw Man movie was incredible. If you haven't really watched an anime or been into an anime before, I highly recommend, you go give Chainsaw Man a watch, and you give that movie a watch, because that movie, holy, from the art direction to the writing, um, I mean, they were extremely faithful to the manga. Chainsaw Man has this sort of tragic vibe to it, that really tells the story in a beautiful light, and I think the animation incredible. The colors were everywhere. It's just a beautiful piece of art, that movie was, and I might go see it again. Yeah, I really might. I don't do that often for a lot of movies. Sometimes, if I like a movie enough, I'll go see it in Dolby instead of IMAX, or some sort of different format if I like it that much. And I think I might do that for Chainsaw Man. Now, I unfortunately cannot say the same thing for One Punch Man. I understand there's a Bandai argument there. They didn't give the studio responsible for One Punch Man enough funding or enough support to really flesh out what should be one of the most important seasons to One Punch Man, action wise and story wise, animation wise. But I cannot get behind what has been shown currently. I mean, there's even a coloring issue in one of the scenes. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't watched the show. One Punch Man, I'm not entirely caught up on the manga, but I've read through this arc that's going on all the way to the, Neo Heroes. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, I've read through what is the current arc, and I'm really scared for some of the fights, like with Zombie Man, with Child Emperor, some of these characters that are beloved in the manga and that have crazy fights in the manga, I think might be sidelined or even just neglected, unfortunately. And I'm not going to sit on here and spew hate, but I really do hate the situation that One Punch Man is in. It does not. I mean, if this were any other franchise that had as much publicity and as much praise as the first season of One Punch Man did, even to some extent, season two in some areas, right? A lot of season two was definitely a step down from the first season, but I think we would have taken another season two for season three if we had, Genos versus Garo again. We had little sequences like that, or when Genos is going ham on Elder Centipede. There's a few scenes that are redeemable in season two of One Punch Man, and I think we would have been okay with that. But we didn't even get that so far, right? And I'm hopes up that some of the fights, they're saving some of that budget for the fights, but it's just all over the place this season as far as pacing, as far as some of the animation. There's no like blur to the motion. There's no indication that things are happening as fast as they are happening, as far as the actual animation. The still frames, the color, some of the tone of the scenes I really enjoy. The comedic beats of some of One Punch Man are some of the best, even in reading the manga. So I'm glad they're nailing that aspect. But as far as the fights go, something's off. Something's really just not there, and I'm really sad to see it. It doesn't deserve this. I don't know what can be done, but I think if you really do like the story of One Punch Man so far, you're better off just reading the manga at this point for the fights that are ahead. I really do suggest anybody that hasn't really started a manga or anything like that, right? I'm telling you, watch Chainsaw Man, read One Punch Man, but they're just the relevant, sort of the shows that are relevant right now and that I think deserve, some talking about, especially the Chainsaw Man movie. You guys would absolutely have a blast with that. As far as the gaming side of things, as many of you know, I started as a gaming YouTube channel, a Mortal Kombat YouTube channel, and have sort of, pivoted into commentary for Marvel Tokon and other gaming and movie related news. That's sort of just kind of what I like talking about, but I've been on sort of a hiatus for a little while now, and I don't think that's because I'm tired of gaming at all. I'll still hop into Marvel Rivals and still have that same competitive spirit, or any video game I put my mind towards. Especially, I've been playing Ninja Gaiden 4 recently, and that's really made me miss some of the old games, some of the old action games from back then, because it really is just a crazy experience. Some of the hardcore fans that shit on it, I can understand how their frustrations, but that is minuscule in comparison to how great and how many positives the game had for new players that are experiencing Ninja Gaiden for the first time, and for old heads as well that are exploring the Bloodraven system with the multiple weapons. It's really fun, and you get to play the new protagonist and Ryu. You get the best of both worlds. Even though Ryu doesn't have all the weapons he used to, you're still getting a Ryu experience. And I think there were talks of giving Ryu like some sort of DLC in the future for that. But I really do enjoy Ninja Gaiden 4. I think that's one of the positives in gaming right now. Obviously, Expedition 33, Hades 2, Arc Raiders now, in talks for some of the games of the years in different categories. And I think Ninja Gaiden could definitely take that action game of the year. Along with Ghost of Yote, another incredible PlayStation release that just happened recently. Lots of good games releasing as of recent. On the publisher side, on the console side, obviously Xbox. If you're at all in the know about what's happening there, it's really sad to see what's happening with Xbox. Even though they did just publish Ninja Gaiden 4, right? Xbox Game Studios helped fund Team Ninja and Platinum to make Ninja Gaiden 4. But even with that success and many successes to come as they start to release games on PlayStation, because a lot of the gaming audience for AAA gaming is now on PlayStation, we're seeing Xbox pivot out of the console market, and it's just going to be PlayStation and Nintendo so far, and some of the handhelds, right? So that's a change in the gaming sphere that is kind of sad, right? All the Xbox brethren who grew up playing on Xbox, that's really sad to see go. Gamer score, all that, just the Xbox culture. It's slowly fading away as Microsoft takes over and tries to please shareholders, to incorporate cloud into different technologies for games and all this stuff. It's really sad to see. And it's really interesting if you guys look into it for a little bit, but yeah, Halo's coming to PlayStation, Ninja Gaiden, great game. So I guess Xbox, they're pulling a Sega. There's going to be publishing games and still around making games, but they're not going to be a console. That identity of Xbox being its own sort of platform is gone. It's a platform that is available for all, and that's just a change that I think is interesting. I know it's a little side tangent there, but I think it deserves some talk, because it is sort of a prominent thing happening right now, and a lot of people that play on Xbox consoles for, say, fighting games or any other game, it's all of that progress, all of that shared gamer score might just not continue unless you want to stick with the platform for the next generation. There are talks that they are making sort of a pseudo console PC for like 1200 plus. Who knows how much that thing's going to be. But they're not targeting kids or casual gamers anymore. They're targeting sort of the high-end audience, the more hardcore audience who invest into PCs. And I don't know how that's going to fare in this economy. I don't really know how that's going to go down for Xbox. But it is, it's something to think about, and going forward is just going to be the way. But yeah, so getting more into just my personal feelings on gaming at the moment, it's a pretty good space to be in. If you're enjoying the single player experiences, congratulations. Arc Raiders, fantastic game as far as I hear. I haven't played it yet, but I hear it's fantastic, and I'm extremely happy for everybody that's getting that game that they deserve. Same goes for Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 seeming to live up to the expectation aside from the battle royale. It seems to be a true Battlefield experience. And it's good to see Battlefield back, in the forefront of the first-person shooter market. As far as fighting games go, if you guys know me, I love fighting games. I play pretty much every genre of fighting game on the market. And right now, 2XKO, the League of Legends fighting game, that one's popping off in the competitive scene. It's only on PC at the moment, so not a lot of the console players can play it at the moment, but it seems to be fun for a lot of people. Me personally, for me. It's not scratching the itch. I'm really waiting on Tokon, Marvel Tokon, as far as the tag fighters go, and to really invest, because I love Arc System Works games. But 2XKO seeming to be incredibly fun. You get to play with a partner, and that's really awesome to see League of Legends tackle sort of a team fighting game that you can play with, 4 players. You have 2-on-2 action there, and that's really, really, really fun to see. I really, going in the future, it'd be cool to see 2 versus 2 be the standard for tournament format. I think that could be an interesting experiment. You got 2s or you got 1, right? You got the 2s tournament and then you got the 1 tournament. I don't know. Just on the viewer level, I think that might be a little bit more exciting. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a fun game for most. Where I come from, Mortal Kombat. Let me talk to my Mortal Kombat guys for a second. Now, I love Mortal Kombat with all of my heart, and I always will. I've been playing regularly since Armageddon on the OG Xbox. I played on the cabinet for UMK3 when I was younger. Casually, Armageddon, then MK9. I started getting more into it as I started watching some of the people I looked up to growing up, like Denzel. Got a shout out, Denzel. Love you, bro. I hope you're doing well. Slayer, I love you, dude. I can't wait to get into some more bullshit. Nothing will ever take anything away from the experiences I've had with my friends. Dexy, my Mortal Kombat rival, brethren. I miss you, bro. I miss us. Sticky, love you, bro. Chico, everybody in the MK scene, okay? That I know. Ghost, all you guys from Xbox, everybody. But it's really, really sad to see the community itself even sort of joking about how bad it is. Just sort of laughing it off. And I think that's the best approach. I think that is the best way, is just to come together and sort of laugh it off and play the games you enjoy, because ultimately this game was rushed. It could have been a lot better. And looking bigger picture for not only Mortal Kombat, but all of Warner Brothers, Batman, Hogwarts, all of these things. Warner Brothers is sort of a tumultuous company right now because they are being sold. They're being sold off. There's bids from Paramount. There's bids from Netflix to buy Warner Brothers as a film studio, and to sort of cut out that gaming division. That is a topic of discussion. If Netflix is going to buy Warner Brothers, well, what's the point of developing this next Mortal Kombat game if they own the IP, right? Is NetherRealm going to be sold off to someone else? These are all questions that I think they probably already have the answers to, but we as a community just don't. And I think that's where a lot of the uncomfortable conversation comes. There's a lot of negativity coming from that direction, but also within the community itself. Really disappointing to see sort of the support, not only from NetherRealm and WB, but from offline tournament organizers, like the most recent at DreamHack. I am really, really proud of Wits, FGC. Wits, if you're watching this, man, I'm so proud to have seen your journey, to see you make it to DreamHack. You are above 99.9% of people who can say, hey, I went to an offline and won that, and you deserve that respect, Wits. And I see you, and I'm really, really proud of you. And I think a lot of people need to bring that sort of energy towards new players in fighting games. As much as I personally am not a big fan of Mortal Kombat 1, not only how it's handled, but just some of the things in the gameplay, that's the thing about Mortal Kombat. Every Mortal Kombat game has something else to offer for different players. And I think maybe that's part of the reason the community is so split. There's a lot of differing opinions here about what is universal to Mortal Kombat and what should belong. People like to argue that it's the egos of players. I don't think so. There's always going to be a sense of ego for players that, are trying to be the best at something. That's what it takes to be the best. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to drop that ego, but also, instill yourself with it when you are playing a game. I personally believe that, when you're enforcing an offense, you're enforcing your personality in a way. You're enforcing your flavor, right? And there's different ways people can express that. I will be talking about that after this next topic. I'll be talking about fighting games in general. I believe that we as a community just need to come together and, support each other in this trying time. Not a lot of people are going to offlines. That's okay. People can choose how to spend their money. You can't fault the player for not going to an offline event. You can't blame interest in the game. You could point fingers at the game and say, hey, maybe that's not the most interesting thing to watch. But for you, if you do enjoy watching it, then watch it, support the players around you, and keep going with what you enjoy. Ultimately, WB and NetherRealm have put themselves in an extremely unfavorable situation, especially after the release of the Legacy Collection. I think that just left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Now, in talking about fighting games in general, in talking about how you express yourself as a player, the modern fighting games that are coming to market, the ease of access, for newer players, right? The control scheme's getting simpler. I think this is something that maybe might be turning me off a little bit. It might, for me personally, it's going a little far. And I had a long conversation about this with Denzel J. Terry, my close friend Denzel, who I looked up to growing up. We called each other over breakfast, and we just talked about it. If you guys don't know Denzel, he's a Mortal Kombat legend. He's been in the community for a while, and we just talked about modern fighting games. And Denzel brought up an extremely interesting point as we were sort of talking about modern fighting games, and the conclusion that me and Denzel sort of came to is that a lot of modern fighting games, though they're fun, the ease of access to get to these extremely powerful situations and sort of the nuance of what is going to happen next has been lost because some of the execution, some of the things have been simplified and made easier, like drive rush, even though there's things to counter that. The auto neutral tools without defensive mechanics in, say, Mortal Kombat 1, they lead to situations that don't really have a lot of nuance in the neutral, a lot of freedom for the viewer to think about what might happen next. Is he going to land it? Is he going to go for this? That is sort of lost in modern fighting games. That in itself, the wonder as a viewer, the wonder as a player, the decisions you have to make at lightning speed are taking away the excitement from players who used to have to make those decisions and play the execution of those decisions the same way. And this is definitely something for the more hardcore fighting game audience, the players that come back and play that game, the game they love day after day. But we're seeing that more and more as more fighting games come out. We're seeing it with Invincible Versus, having these more accessible ways to play, Marvel Tokon. And overall, just curious to see how that will pan out. Now, we're not taking away anything from new players that are getting into these games, or even older players that are playing these games and enforcing the strong strategies. We're not taking anything away from those players, but it's just an argument that the nuance of these situations, the wonder of what is possible for a player to do, is being lost in sort of these ultra strong, easy to access situations. In the long run for fighting games, that could be an issue for the more long-term players, but obviously there are counterpoints to that argument. No matter what fighting game you play, you're going to have to guess in some situations, but I suppose just the ease of access to these strategies is where the issue comes in, the nuance of, tools in neutral. What's the player going to use versus is he going to just use that? It's that thought process of how we get there that, is becoming less interesting. Is just, in my personal opinion, and maybe Denzel's too, I can't maybe speak for him today, but, it's slowly just less interesting. Obviously, playing and enforcing these casino strategies can still be fun and in the long term enjoyable to watch, but it really just depends game to game, and there's a lot of counter arguments to that. So I'd be curious to see what you guys think about that. as far as things in pop culture coming soon or arriving soon, Predator Badlands is looking to be an incredible Predator franchise entry. Dan Trachtenberg, who directed Prey, is coming back to direct the new Predator Badlands movie, which follows the Predator as the main character. And I think there is so much to explore in the Predator universe. In AVP, Alien vs. Predator 2, we saw the Predator Homeworld, and then they started exploring that in the Predator animated series. There's a lot of things that Predator has to explore, and I think given that this new Predator is going to meet this Weyland Yutani bot, it's going to expand Predator and Alien once again back into this universe. We've even seen Fede Alvarez in the past comment that he would love to do an Alien vs. Predator movie, so as an Alien versus Predator fan, you guys can hate it as much as you do, but Alien versus Predator, the first one, I mean, that's nostalgic 2000s horror vibe, horror sci-fi vibe that I am definitely missing. And I hope they bring that back. If those two directors do collab, hopefully. Frankenstein also coming out this Friday. So we're going to have the duo. We're going to have Predator and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein coming to Netflix. Not the big screen, unfortunately. I think, that's really, really something that's really just a shame. I think maybe Netflix has something to do with that. They want people coming to their platform to watch Frankenstein. So it's a limited theater release. But I think Netflix, especially with films that are receiving critical praise like Frankenstein is, I think a reactionary wider release, especially with the internet today, how fast information travels. I think if you can get on board with getting it in theaters quick, you could make a lot more money than just bringing it to your platform, right? So, but really, really looking forward to that. It's supposed to be really, really faithful to the book as far as I've heard, sort of similar to Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I cannot wait to see Frankenstein and Predator, right? You go to Predator in the theaters and you come back to the sheets and you start watching Frankenstein. But that's a duo movie release for this next week that I'm personally looking forward to. My personal life outside of pop culture, I did just visit Jerome, Arizona. Beautiful, beautiful city. Kind of gave you European vibes. And, I do plan to travel a little bit more if I can in the future. And if you guys want to see any sort of vlog video of me going to different places and seeing the sights, doing little videos like that, I could totally do that in the future as well. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little tangent, little talk with you guys since it has been a while. Just get everything that's been on my mind off my mind, And as far as it relates to pop culture, everything happening within the government, everything happening within the U.S. itself. I'm not sure if I want to comment politically, but the times are definitely tough for America, and we could definitely get more into that if you guys would like. I could start making commentary videos on just everything, But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is Headline, signing off. Peace out.